Welcome to this special webinar from Nefesh B'Nefesh. My name is Jay Rosen. I'm a volunteer with Nefesh B'Nefesh. I myself made Aliyah with them just over 15 years ago. And I'm also the host of Cafe Oleh, which is a weekly session we do online and God willing soon in person again, where we go over everyday Hebrew that you need here in Israel to set yourself up for success. It may not be the Hebrew that you learned in Ulpan, or in day school, or in yeshiva, or university, or even on previous trips here in Israel, but it's the everyday Hebrew we use here. So going, paying your bills, for example, or going to the supermarket, which we're going to discuss today, or keeping up with the news, or lodging a complaint, or just in general knowing what's going on and feeling comfortable in Hebrew, regardless of what level you're at. Today, we're going to go over shopping, particularly online shopping. This is a really cool topic, not just because we've talked about shopping before and grocery shopping with Cafe Oleh, and you can find all of our previous sessions on Nefesh B'Nefesh's YouTube channel, just youtube.com, type in Nefesh B'Nefesh or even Cafe Oleh. But it tells a lot about the history of food and shopping in Israel. Food obviously being very important to us here in Israel as Jews living in the Middle East. We're all about food, but also shopping because it brings up notions of e-commerce and technology and things like that. And the reality is, for Israel being the startup nation and all of that, it's really only been thanks to the pandemic that online shopping has become what it has become. Previously, it existed. It just had all sorts of constraints against it. First off, online shopping, as in stuff coming from abroad, is still taxed with a lot of customs and duties on it. So it's not the most accessible format. Also, it's a long-standing joke in Israel, and justifiably so, that the Israel postal system is, wow, terrible. But also people have their own traditions of how they go about doing their grocery shopping here in Israel, which was really about getting things as they came out, and also remembering the history of Israel, its economic history of not always being the most affluent place in the world. So we're going to go through all of that, but also help you navigate online shopping. We're recording this just before the holiday season, 2021, which is a major time for shopping, especially grocery shopping. Probably the two biggest periods in Israel for that are right before the Chagim in the fall, Rosh Hashanah in particular, and Pesach in the spring. If you're here in Israel, we're accessing ads on TV or online or on the radio, you'll see there's a huge amount with regards to grocery shopping. And there's all sorts of sales that go on for food shopping. It's also very customary when you're invited to a family meal or to friends for a festive meal for Rosh Hashanah or Pesach that you bring a food item as a gift. Typically it's wine or chocolate. Interestingly enough, a non-food item that's very popular, at least by virtue of how many ads there are for this time of year, is perfume. I don't think you're making a comment about your host if you bring them some perfume or cologne, but that's Israel for you. Let's dive in here. First, those of you who are joining us, we have a supplementary vocabulary list that we've created for you. The Hebrew is on the right-hand side with the dots and bars that indicate vowel sounds, which typically aren't written out in everyday Hebrew. Transliteration in the middle for an American English friendly audience, and the English on the left. You'll receive a copy of this in addition to this video to help you along, prepare you for shopping in general, but particularly for grocery shopping. It has all sorts of great words and vocabulary there for the types of stores that are available in Israel, things to look out for in terms of sales and discounts. All these things we're going to go through together right now, as well as basic minerals and elements, how to read a nutritional label on the back of products and so forth. But to get started, I wanted to share this picture with you from 1958. This is the opening of the very first supermarket in Israel. It's at the time called Super Soul. It's now been rebranded as Shushel. This opened up here in Tel Aviv. I live here in Tel Aviv on Ben Yehuda Street. The branch still exists. It does not look like this. Neither the outside nor all the people calmly waiting in line and dressed in their finest. None of that exists anymore, nor those prices as they are listed in Israeli lira, which was 2 currencies ago here in Israel. But it shows what a big deal supermarkets were. Because the fact of the matter is, we didn't have supermarkets until 1958. And even then, it's not always the most popular type of place to go grocery shopping. Let me just open up our vocabulary list again to show you. Right, so we have a lot of different ways to shop here in Israel. One of the most popular, as it's both Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, even Eastern European, is the shuk, the open air market that you've probably visited in the past or you're used to shopping at here in Israel. This is an open air market, fruits and vegetables, but also meat, fish, non-perishable items. It's still a very popular way to go shopping. You also have in Israel at the smallest level, right after the shuk, you have the makolet. The makolet is still the neighborhood grocery store. It's not big. It often has just enough of everything. So dairy products, fruits and vegetables, grains, all sorts of things, maybe some esoteric things here and there, but it's small, it's neighborhood, and oftentimes it's so neighborhoody, if that's a word, in Hebrew it is shchunati, that you can often make a deal with the owner who keeps a running tab of all your purchases for the month, and you pay at the end of the month rather than paying each time you go in. Again, it's that very neighborhood feel. Another very local way to go shopping is here, row 6, Yalkan. Yalkan is a greengrocer. Right, they exclusively sell fruits and vegetables, sometimes some specialty products, but are still produce derived. It's often more expensive than going to a shuk or a makolet or a supil. But it's, again, very local, very fresh. And then the supil. The supil, coming from supermarket, we have a whole range of supirim in Israel. Just to show you, by the way, one of your best resources in learning Hebrew in Israel, in learning Hebrew in general, is Wikipedia. Because Wikipedia translates a vast majority of its articles into Hebrew. This one is not, but is still a great resource. This is the list of all the major supermarkets in Israel as of 2019. It hasn't really changed since then. But if you want to get a sense of the major brands nationwide, or at least regional wide, and how many branches they have, you can see here alphabetically, there's a whole range of them. Some of them range from local to a convenience store to big box, think like, North American style big box supermarkets that you need a car to get to because they're not accessible. I'm going to take you through a few of these online. Because as much as I'm talking now about offline, we're here to talk about online, and I'm going to actually take you together. We're going to go shopping together online. So here's a quick list. If you need to look this up, it's on Wikipedia. It's in English. This is one of the simplest things to look at. And what we're going to look at today as well is that many of these websites, even if they don't offer English as an option, Google Translate is your friend. Milon Morphix is your friend. Context Reversal. Many of these sites are easily translatable. And even if they're not, look at the menu bar at the top. Before we even get to where this place is and what it is, just look at the menu bar at the top. It's all pictograms, right? So if I don't know the word for fruits and vegetables, I see something that looks like an apple, I'm going to click on it and I'd be right. Okay, the thing that says sale is a sale. The thing that looks like a bottle of milk and eggs is dairy and eggs, and so forth. Really simple online shopping experience. Okay, what we're looking at right now is called AMPM, or locally known as AMPAM. This is a chain of convenience stores, although it's a much more supersized convenience store that's in the Tel Aviv metropolitan area. So Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, Givatayim, I believe also now in Bat Yam and Chulon. AMPM is known to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. with the exception of one branch. And it's a great story. It's a branch here in Tel Aviv, in the center of the city on Schenken Street. Schenken used to be the it place to be seen in the 90s. It's now actually going through a renaissance of becoming a cool place to hang out. It's also home to a Hasidic community. The Belzer actually have a small community there. And the local community and the Haredi community, the ultra-Orthodox community, made an agreement to better live in harmony in the beginning of the 20th century, that Schenken would not be open, at least on Friday night and into Shabbat. And so this is the only AM/PM in the company that is not open on Shabbat and Chagim. A really nice story of coexistence, regardless of what you think about Shabbat observance. Anyways, AM/PM, 24 hours, they have all sorts of things here. As you see, they have an ad for alcohol there, all sorts of different stuff here. Another store that's very popular here in the center of the country is Ttime. Ttime is known to stock gourmet items. They're also open on Shabbat and Chagim. They're also known for stocking non-kosher products, and as such cater to the Russian community. So if you look here on the left, at the top left of the of this website, which by the way is an exact mirror of AM/PM, right? It's the exact same layout. The only difference, switch over to this tab, is that I have the option to do this in Russian. Again, Ttime knows its customers. Being online shopping is all about customer satisfaction, perhaps much more so than in-person shopping. And so they know who their audience is. They know they need to offer multiple languages. This is more of a supermarket than a convenience store that, excuse me, based here in the center of the country, but is now expanding nationally, is Victory. Victory is one of several what we call discount chains, where they're selling nationally known labels, but also their own label, and often at a price margin that is more beneficial to the consumer than the company. So oftentimes it's much cheaper. In fact, before those two big holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Pesach, both the supermarkets as well as the major news outlets will do a survey of how much groceries are costing this holiday season. They'll go to the supermarket, they'll buy the same items in each major chain and do a price comparison. Victory typically is one of the cheapest places to shop at. And now they offer online shopping, a great resource. If you're in Jerusalem and the Jerusalem area, Rami Levi is your discount chain of choice. Another great option, both in person and online. This is also a discount chain. This is one of the first discount chains in Israel. They now have expanded to cafes and internet and cell phone plans and travel packages. You're going to find with a lot of this online shopping, it's more than just groceries. Because it's online, they now have the opportunity to sell so much more than just groceries. They'll sell electronics, cell phones. We're going to look into that shortly. Another option that's not here, but is back on that list of supermarkets in Israel, is Osher Ad. Osher Ad is only offline. They do not do online shopping yet, but especially as we're talking to North American and British Olim here, if you are feeling nostalgic for items that you may be more used to, Osher Ad is one of your places of attraction. Osher Ad was created originally for the ultra-Orthodox community in that the prices are cheap and it's huge items. You're almost buying in bulk without the Costco membership fees. Again, thinking about the typical ultra-Orthodox family, which is usually large with a lot of kids, Osher Ad is found throughout the country. It's typically cheaper. They also stock Kirkland products, which is one of Costco's in-house brands. So if you're missing your Kirkland jumbo-sized products of everything, Osher Ad is your place. By the way, a quick tip, because we also do cultural context here at Cafe Oleh and with Nefesh B'Nefesh. If you're really missing your favorite products from North America and the UK and from abroad, two really good places to look for. One is online, which is Super Deal. It's based in Jerusalem, but they also deliver online. And Meatland in Ra'anana. If you're looking for good old American or Canadian or British products, those two are really good options for you. But today, actually, I want to show you one more. Before we get to that, one of the great byproducts of the pandemic, and there actually have been some positive things, is that we have more direct to table opportunities. So you see a lot of farmers selling their produce directly to consumers and not going through a middleman. But also you have places like Carmela. Carmela is one of the big bastot. A basta is a stand in the shuk. Carmela is one of the big bastot in Shuka Carmel, in the Carmel market here in Tel Aviv. They've also gone online. They still have their regular basta, but they also are online, and they can offer even more things, right? So they have regular sales on produce, but they also sell Beyond Burgers and fresh pasta and packages for the holiday and food savers and all sorts of other fun stuff, right? Really great website, and a lot of different farmers are doing this, as well as individual stands. By the way, another tip for you, as you see the produce here, never buy produce in Israel on a Saturday night or a Sunday. Remember that buying your food in Israel, grocery shopping, is the biggest deal on Fridays. Fridays are right before Shabbat, but it's also the first day that most people have a day off. They're not thinking about grocery shopping in the evening. They want to be with family or friends. And as such, it's a mad rush on Friday mornings. If you don't get to your grocery store or the shuk or the supil before 9:30, you're going to be in a long line and not have the greatest produce. And typically it takes until Sunday afternoon for those places to be restocked with really good produce. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping. That also goes with online. Online shopping is obviously really popular right before Shabbat and a holiday. So you want to plan accordingly if you're having your groceries delivered. Okay, today we're going to do some shopping together, and we're going to go through that big one that actually that one I showed you from 1958, which has been renovated, updated just a bit, is Shufersal. Shufersal used to be known as Supersol in English. It has now been rebranded as Shufersal. It comes from a portmanteau, as we say in English, of shufra, which is actually Aramaic, which means great, superior, great quality, and sal, which is Hebrew for basket. And Shufersal is the absolute largest supermarket chain in Israel. It's nationwide. So from the north to the south, you'll always find a Shufersal. They have since branched out. There are actually 3 different kinds of Shufersal. There is the local brand, there is the discount brand, there is the big box brand, there is an organic one. They now have their own line of pharmacies and around the country. It's a really big company. So if you're looking for nationwide delivery, because that's why we're talking about online shopping, this is going to be your bet. Whether you're in bidud is the Hebrew word for quarantine, or you just can't be bothered to go to the store, Shufersal is one of your better options. Not necessarily in terms of price, we're going to talk about that, but in terms of availability. Okay, so first off, you see here, it's a big website. And it's a big website because it's offering all sorts of things. We have supermarket, right? And this is all the different things that you're going to need from a supermarket. This one says Hakanyon Hakol Labayit, right? On the second to the right-hand side, you can buy pretty much anything you want there. It's pretty awesome. You can buy electronics, and you can see in the picture, there's flat screen TVs and washing machines and vacuum cleaners, anything you want. B is the name of their pharmacy line. So you can buy cosmetics, vitamins, and so forth. Green is obviously their organic line. But the point though here is that you can buy everything under one bill. And that's pretty awesome. That instead of having to run around from different stores or even online, everything is available online. And even in other stores, you're going to find the same thing. Everything you can find in one site, and you can purchase it in one go. Okay, so we're on the website. What do you do with this website? How do I get started? So first off, what's very important for Shushel and for a lot of these is to know if there is a moadon. If you go here at the top right, top of the page, you'll see here in the center, it says Haizol Haishi B'moadon. Azol Ishi is personal site or personal area. B'moadon. Moadon is the word for club. This is the club that, this is the discount club or the customers club or however you want to translate it. Essentially, every major supermarket, even those small groceries that we talked about before, have their own moadon. Some of these cost money, some of them are free. Shushel, for example, is completely free. And you get discounts, right? The more you purchase from them, the more points you rack up, or the more coupons you're offered for items that you specifically buy regularly, or you're offered previews of sales that are coming up. You can see all these different banners right now are talking about different sales. The word for sale in Hebrew is mivtza. It's in our supplemental Hebrew vocabulary list, so don't worry if you can't catch it. But the point is, it's worth joining a moadon of at least one of these places, especially when it's free. It's no skin off your back. They are doing obviously tracking, right? They're looking at what you're purchasing to offer you directed sales and coupons. But the point is, you're being offered, quite a lot of discounts at times if you're buying according to whatever the mivtza is, according to whatever the sale is. So sometimes it's worth it. But let's go shopping together, right? So supermarket, we have all sorts of different options here. I'm just going to click on supermarket because let's start there. And what you see when you open up on Shushel's website is the following, right? On the left-hand side, you're going to see your running tab of what you're buying. This, by the way, goes for the vast majority of the sites here in Israel. Very simple. If anytime you get lost, you can always either use a plugin for Google Translate or just plug in the word individually, right? The point, me being here, helping you navigate this is not to be a human dictionary, but is to figure out what's going on here, right? So this big gray thing in the middle, Hagala Shelcha Reka. You can figure that out. There's a picture of a cart. It's gray. Chances are it means it's empty, and that's what it means in Hebrew. Your cart is currently empty because we haven't bought anything yet, or we haven't picked anything out yet. So let's just skim through what's going on in sales. And so you see here, Mivtzaim, sales, Rosh Hashanah. We're filming this right before the holidays. So obviously really big deal. They want to cater towards people who are buying for the holidays. Chagigat Mivtzae Hanikayon. Another big phenomenon here in Israel before major holidays is that all the cleaning products go on sale, right? You don't want to offend your guests and certainly your family members, or maybe you do. But the point is that a lot of cleaning products go on sale, perot v'yarakot, and so forth, right? All the different things that a supermarket has. And even if I didn't know what all these things are, all I got to do is click on it. If I don't know the different types of melons, I can certainly look at this picture and know what a melon is. If I don't know what the word for mango is, but I can see a mango in the picture, chances are it's a mango, right? And so forth. Same thing with nuts. I can look at that picture, even if I don't know what egoze melech is, and I can just look that up again, Google Translate, Milon Morphix, Context Reverso, even Wikipedia, and just translate the page. I can look at the picture. I know enough about nuts to know that's walnuts, or on the left, peanuts. Okay, all of these use pictures. It's made to be as easy as possible for people also to know what they're buying. Is very important, especially when it's produce. So let's start with some produce. Let's pick some mango. Okay, here we have mango. Obviously on the left, on the right is melon. Hopefully you know the difference. That doesn't have to do with Hebrew or Israel. It says here, Bahanacha, in big red letters. Bahanacha means it has a discount, right? And it says here, Kne mango katif, buy katif mango. That's a certain type of mango being sold here in Israel. B'mechir, at the price, 8.90 shach. Shach is the short form way of saying shekel, shkalim chadashim, the new Israeli shekel, which is the current currency in Israel, and that little sign that you see next to the number is the symbol for shkalim chadashim. It's actually a composite of the two letters shin and chet. It's very cute. Think of the dollar sign, the pound sign, but this is actually relating to the Hebrew. Anyways, it's at the price of $8.90, down from $9.90, right? You see it's in strike through, means that it is at a discount. And then it says next to it, le kilogram. First off, in Hebrew, when you see two apostrophes between the second to last and last letters of a word, that word is actually an acronym or an abbreviation. Very important to recognize, we do not use periods in Hebrew. We use what we call gilshaim, which are two apostrophes together. This one, kuf gilshaim gimel, stands for kilogram. Okay, so now I know that mangoes here cost $8.90 a kilogram per kilogram. Then it comes to actually picking it out. It has a plus and a minus, so I can pick how many it is, but very important, next to the amount I'm buying, you see Yud Chet Geresh, right? Yud Chet and another one of those apostrophes, that stands for Yechida. Yechida is a unit. So even though the price is listed in kilograms, I'm actually purchasing it by individual mangoes. A very important thing to consider, just like you when you online shop in other places and you're buying groceries, understand what the price is quoting. Is it per pound, or in this case per kilogram, because we're in Israel, or is it by unit? So if I press the pound and I press 1, it's going to give me 1 mango. It's not telling me how much the mango weighs that I'm getting, although buying online means that someone is handpicking it and giving you the best. And it's also important what day of the week you're also making this purchase, like we talked about before. But the more I press, the more it's going to cost, obviously, because I'm doing it by units, by individual mangoes. Excuse me, not by the kilogram. So take that into consideration. Let's say I pick 3 mangoes. I'm going to press Hosef. Hosef is the command for to add, so add. And all of a sudden, I see it pops up in my list on the left-hand side, right? So now it's listed here. First off, the picture, so I know what I'm buying. Very important. If I don't remember the word for mango in Hebrew, I at least know the picture of it. It's got a red button on it that says B'mivtza, so it's on sale. And then on the left-hand side, it tells me how much it's going to cost, right? It's approximately $6.68, saving me 67 agorot, and I've bought 3 of them. So I can play around with this, go up or down. Adken means update. So let's say I want to buy more, right? The price is actually decent. I'm going to press more, update it, and now it's gone up to $8.91. Great. So now I know the price, I know how many I'm getting and how much it's worth. Let's do some more shopping. Let's go to a different category, right? We have dairy products and eggs. Okay, huge amount of dairy products. Obviously eggs, really big deal here. I can get a 30 pack of eggs. We go through a lot of eggs here in Israel if you haven't figured that out already. Dairy products beyond belief. I can scroll through it. I can also look for things. I can just do a search. I can also filter it out. Again, just like in other countries, just like in other languages here in Israel too. So let's say I want to buy eggs. I want to buy, which ones do we feel like today? Let's do Beitzim Omega Medium Shushel. What does this mean? This is Shushel's generic brand, right? Beitzim, eggs, omega has to deal with omega-3 acids, meaning that they're feeding the chickens a diet that's rich in omega-3 fatty acids so that you in turn get some of that, and it's medium-sized eggs. So let's say I want one of these, it's 30 yechidot, so 30 eggs in one purchase, which is $41.90, right? And it's telling me that it's 1.4 shekel for 1 egg. Okay, so I'm going to add that to my sal, my basket, and you see here on the left, it's immediately updated. Okay, let's do a few more things, and then let's check out. So I have more things here. I can do meat, for example. Let's pick some meat out. And here, basar is the catch-all term for meat, but if you scroll down, you see you have motzrei of vehodu on the right. Of is chicken, hodu is turkey. Basar in the middle is the catch-all term for red meat. So beef, veal, and lamb, dagim, fish. Let's pick some beef or veal or lamb. Let's see what there is on sale. Aha. So we have a couple different things here. I can tell this is ground meat because of the picture, but also it says basar tahun, ground meat. We have that. We have shoulder cut here. We have all sorts of different things. We have chops. I'm not going to go through all these words. We've actually done a session on cuts of meat with Cafe Oleh. So again, go to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see it. Let's go back to that ground meat, right? The ground meat is a good one to go to because we have two different options here. On the right-hand side, basar tahun tari yevu aruz. So it is basar tahun, means ground meat, tari, fresh, yevu means imported, aruz, prepackaged. Okay, so this is 30 shekel a kilo, which is what it's telling me here. And it's telling me that it's freshly ground meat, prepackaged. And this one on the left-hand side is, which is $49.90, is basar tahun tari premium. This is a premium cut of meat that's been ground because it's basar tahun premium. The little picture tells me it's got Angus. You can read that in English. I don't need to translate that for you. And that little Argentinian flag tells me it's from Argentina. The vast majority of red meat in Israel originates from South America, from Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina. Lamb, typically, beef also comes from Australia. It's now coming from Eastern Europe. There's very little red meat that is grown in Israel, that is raised in Israel for local consumption, mainly because we just don't have the land for it. So if you're up in the north in the Golan Heights, there's actually great places to get locally raised beef and lamb, but at quite the cost, and certainly different than this. But let's say we get a kilo of ground beef. You'll see here that it starts at half a kilo and it goes up, right? So I can go to half a kilo, 1.5 kilo, and so forth at $49.90. So let's say 1.5 kilo, add it. Okay, and you see it's automatically updated and it gives me the price, $74.85 for 1.5 kilos. Okay, let's say I go somewhere else in what they have here. Because remember, it's not just a supermarket that you're being afforded to with Shushel. You get electronic products, organic products. Let's do some pharmacy stuff, right? Not necessarily actual medication, but you'll see here, right? It's holiday season, so the very first thing that pops up are sales, and of course, it's perfume, like I said before. Very popular ahead of holidays, right? Perfume samples and kits, amazing. Let's say I want to get vitamin D, right? I want to get vitamin D supplements. It's on sale right now. Here on the right-hand side, I can buy 100 vitamin D pills from Altman for $29.90 instead of $49.90. Let's say I wanted that. I get plenty of vitamin D here in Tel Aviv. But let's say I want to add that, right? And now the same list that had groceries now includes vitamins. I could add makeup. I could add electronics. The point though is it's all going to be under one tab. It may not be delivered at the same time, but it's all under the same tab, which is pretty awesome. As a shopping experience, you only have to pay once, right? So let's check out. First off, before we check out, let's look at the left-hand side. We can see a running list, a running tab of everything that we have. In each of them, I can change what it is. I can edit it. That little pencil, you know that well from other countries and languages. It's to edit it. But at the top, it says Yoetz Knia Ishi. So a personal guiding shopping guide and advice if you need tips on what to buy or recipes. Reshimot v'hazmanot, I can save past shopping lists for future use. Couponim, coupons. Again, if I have a moadon to this place, and I do, and we'll sign in shortly. And Zminut Mishluchim. This is what we're going to do very shortly. Zminut is availability. Mishluchim is delivery. This is how you're going to time your delivery to come when you need it to come and the most available to you. Okay, so before we check out, we can see we have 4 items. Right at the bottom left of the screen, we have 4 items in our sal, in our basket, amounting to 184 shekel and 66 agorot, including kolel dmei mishloach shirut, including delivery and service charge. Okay, very important to know. Everything is itemized for your pleasure. Litashlum, to pay. Let's click on that. Right, and now it's asking, am I already a lakoach rashum? Lakoach is a customer, rashum registered. Right, do I already have an account with Shushel, whether it's with their club or not? You can see I do. Thank you, and we're just going to log in. Okay, and now you see a whole bunch of stuff. First off, the left-hand side, sikum hazmana, the summary of your order. So you can see everything that you want. On the right-hand side, rega lifnei, just a moment before you check out. Obviously, this is like the checkout line in an actual supermarket with all those impulse items that they want you to buy or any last deals that they're trying to push on you. This is where you would find them. All sorts of stuff here. I need, I don't need. Just like in a regular supermarket, you can choose to ignore it or not. Okay, now what is it telling me? If I have any coupons, I can add that here at the top, hakled code coupon. Here's all the different things I ordered. And now it's telling me it's actually got a few things from a previous order there, but don't worry about that. The point though is I can go through all of this, right? And I can pick out things that I don't want. If there's an X next to it, maybe I had second questions about it. Okay, and it's telling me that things are removed, which I'm gonna do right now from a previous I thought about buying, but maybe I don't want. I can always go back and change it. Right? Very simple. So now my 4 items are there. And now I can choose to making sure that everything is in order. It's telling me how much it costs. It's telling me how much I saved. It's telling me how much, all these different things, just like you would in a normal supermarket. I'm going to sign in. Okay, here is where you're going to start checking out, right? On the left-hand side, it's telling you how much it costs, how many items I have, the moadon, right? The club, how many points I've accrued and how much I've saved as a result. Really important. Here at the top, I'm going to pick 2 things, right? I have 2 options with Shufersal. They have mishloach. Mishloach is a delivery. Or I have this option here at the top left. Ani rotze le'esof et hamishloach ba'atzmi. Shufersal now has a deal where you can do curbside pickup at select branches. Right, so because of the pandemic, you're able to drive up to certain places or to just come up and they'll have your groceries ready for you. That sort of defeats the purpose of what we're talking about, especially if you're in quarantine or you just can't be bothered to go to the grocery store. We're doing good old mishloach delivery. Okay, so I'm going to put my name in. Shem Prati. Just make sure it's in Hebrew here. Shem Mishpacha, last name. Right, now it's asking me kinui laktovet, the nickname for your address, because it's going to want to save my address for future use. I'm going to pick Yishuv. Yishuv means what community I live in, where's my residence. I live in Tel Aviv. We're actually not going to do my address because as much as I love you all, you don't need to know where I live. Okay, we're going to do Nefesh B'Nefesh's hub here in Tel Aviv. It's shared workspace. So that's on Rothschild. Shterot Rothschild is its official name. Mispar Bait The number of the building is 76. And you see here on the left, it automatically generated what we call Mikud. Mikud is zip code. Here in Israel, it used to be up until a few years ago, like in North America, 5 digits, or at least in America, 5 digits. They've since reformed it, and it's now 8 digits. And no one remembers their 8-digit Mikud. So there's all sorts of websites that will generate your zip code for you based on your address. As you saw here, Shushel is so good online that they did it for me, right? So I don't have to remember what it is. Telephone, I'll put in my phone number. Okay. Then it asks me, Sug Bait, is this a shared house? Literally a shared house, Bait Meshutaf, or Bait Prati, a private house. This is to understand, are you living in an apartment building or a single family home? That's important in terms of the delivery, where they need to deliver, how to deliver. I'm putting Bait Meshutaf because Nefesh B'Nefesh's office is in a, office building. Knisa, many buildings in Israel have multiple entrances, and so it's important to give the delivery person the right address. So the generic one is just Aleph, if there's only one. Mispal Dira, so I'm going to put here, I know it's the 5th floor of Rothschild 76. I believe it's, let's say apartment 3, it doesn't really matter because there's a big sign that says Nefesh B'Nefesh when you get there. Malit. Malit means elevator. Is there an elevator? Yesh malit or en malit? There is no elevator. Yesh malit. So I'm going to click that. Herot laktovet. Herot laktovet translates as notes for the address. This is, for example, if you are sitting in quarantine, if you're sitting in bidud, it's very important to make yourself known to them that you're in bidud. So for example, if you live in a walk-up apartment, or there's a gate, or whatever it may be, it's important for the delivery person to know you're in quarantine, that you can't leave the house. They're going to have to come to your front door. There's no meet me downstairs, meet me in the middle, none of that. So if you are in bidud, you're simply going to write ani bebidud. Ani bevidud is how we properly say it. They'll contact you when they arrive to make sure that they know you're arriving and so forth, but that's important to write just so that they know. Okay, let's scroll down. Now you have a couple options here. Bichirat emtsei tashlum. Okay, very important that obviously payment. You have 2 options for payment when you're shopping online here in Israel, especially with Shushel. Kartis Ashrai, credit card, or this thing on the left, Tav Zahav. Tav Zahav is like a gift card. Many companies ahead of holidays will give out a Tav Zahav to their employees as like the holiday bonus. You can also gift people this throughout the year, but it's especially popular as a HR gift, as a gift from HR and offices to give some sort of gift ahead of the holiday season. Tav Zahav is one of them. It comes as like it looks like a plastic credit card. It's a gift card, pre-charged. You can also top it up as much as you'd like. That is good, not just at Shushel, but many other stores, clothing stores, textile stores, home goods stores. So if you have one, you could put it in there, but we're gonna do regular old Kartis Ashrai. It's asking you to put in your credit card number here, Mispal Kartis, Tokef, the expiration date, CVV, as you see in the picture. I don't even need to translate it for you, right? You also have the option, by the way, with Shushel to pay with someone else's credit card, right? So let's say someone's sitting in quarantine and you're buying them groceries, but it's not coming to you, or a loved one, whatever it may be. You can write here, Shem Maleh Shel Bal Kartis. You put in your credit card, and you put your name here, and then your Tudat Zehut. Taf Zayin stands for Tudat Zehut, your national ID number, just to make it clear whose it is and to make sure there's no fraud involved. Okay, a few more items before we can check out. Herot Lazmana. Any further notes for this order? B'meida v'nimtzeu pritim chaserim be'et isuf hazmana. This line I just bolded in blue. If any of the items are missing in the store when you're making your purchase, right? So let's say I want to buy all the different things I had, and one of those items isn't there. They ran out of mangoes. I have three different options here, starting from the right. Shilchu SMS leteum pritim chalufim. Send me an SMS to confirm sending me alternative items. That's number one option. Number two, sapku pritim chalufim lelo teum. Supply me, provide me alternative items without conferring, right? If I just want to trust the store to say they ran out of mangoes, so give me papaya, right? Something along those lines, but they don't need to confer with me, just do it. Or the third option, al tesapku pritim chalufim. Don't provide me with alternative items. So let's say the items are not available. Just take it off my bill. This is a very important part of online shopping to keep in mind, that the price that you're about to pay, when I click that bottom left button, Ishul, which means okay or approval, is still it's going to be saved at that amount, but it's not going to be finalized until the actual delivery comes. Why? Because the size and weight of fruit and produce changes. The quality of certain things changes, right? Meat, for sure, the exact amount changes. So there may be some variations in the final price. And that's why it's asking me before I check out, what do I want to do if an item isn't there, right? So let's say I bought all those items and there are no mangoes. I'm still being charged right now for mangoes at $142.76. But what do I do if they don't have? Obviously my price is going to go down. So they're incentivizing me to buy something else or to sub it out with something different. Okay, so that's one choice. The next one, Bizman mishluach ani, at the time of delivery, I am at, and then it's giving me a couple different options. B'bayit lekabel et hamishluach, I'm going to be home when you're planning to deliver. We'll go through delivery times in a second. You should be able to pick the time that's suitable for you and when they're available. And then this one option here, very important. Lo b'bayit tash'iru li leyad ha'deled. You have the option, let's say I'm not home and I want to just have delivered stuff to me and I'll pick it up there. You see that it's not available, and then a window pops up, right? First off, it's in light gray, so I can't even do it. And then when I hover over it, it gives me a window. It says, Lo nitan lash'ir leyad hadelet. And then it's telling me that when certain items are in my list or in my purchase, they cannot provide this service. I have to be home to accept it. So things like, as it says here, glidot, ice cream, basal tahun, ground meat, motzei alcohol v'tabak, alcohol and tobacco, gift cards, medications. Why? Let's say I come home, I order this to be purchased and it arrives at 7 o'clock at night and I don't get home till 9 o'clock. And the ice cream is melted, the meat has started to turn because even if there's a gel pack in there to keep it cool, it hasn't kept. I can hold the company liable that they sent me bad products because who's to know if they sent it originally or not. This way, the supermarket takes care of itself and says, you know what, if it's fresh items of certain categories or perishable, you need to be home to accept delivery. Perfectly acceptable, right? If that's too much of a burden, you can make plans accordingly. Moving down, Esmach lekabel et hacheshbonit. I would like to receive the receipt, and then you have two options. The green leaf and the green font probably indicates something eco-friendly, and sure enough, it does. Digitalit be'ezor haishi, right? So if I pick this green option, I will get my receipt in my newly formed personal section on the Shushel website. It won't be printed out on paper, or I can ask Beniyal, print it out on paper, include it in the delivery. And then lehatzig mechirim beferut hazmana. This last option, should they itemize all the different items and pricing in the receipt? Yes or no? Obviously very important, again, when you're purchasing things that are being sold by weight. So if there's a fluctuation, you want to be sure that you're getting what you paid for, ken or lo. Okay, And now I have a couple options here. I can add a couple things here. I want to make sure that everything else is in order, right? Just making sure everything is in order. And then I'm going to press Ishul, right? Very simple, very easy to do. Pick out how you, when it comes to you and at what time based on their availability, your availability, what you've purchased. It's really simple to buy online. It's very accessible. It's much easier. It's less of a headache. You don't have to deal with people as much. Obviously, it's very friendly online. You do have to pay in credit card or with a gift card, but the rewards are certainly there, right? It's ease of mind. You can do this from the office or from home. You can purchase it and have it delivered when it's available and convenient for you. Really simple. So thank you all for joining. I hope you have a, as they say on these websites, but also I'll say knia mehana, a pleasant time shopping, and certainly online in the comforts of your home or office, it is a lot easier. And as we're filming before Rosh Hashanah and the Chagim, wishing you a Shana Tova, wishing you a happy new year ahead, hoping that your shopping experience, be it online or offline, but especially online, is easy, just as we showed you how easy it is. Hopefully it's not being done from bidud, from quarantine, and you're just doing it out of ease. And that's it. Hope to see you at one of our future Cafe Oleh sessions. And in the meantime, Shana Tova.